Timer ready? Violence escalates in Syria. LGBT Americans struggle for a voice, and a Michigan student talks about new census race options. All this and more on today's online update from WHAT News, where we tell you what's going on. I'm Phoenix Biederman, coming to you from Birmingham. All that's coming up soon, but first, we go to Syria for today's war-torn headline story. Syria's al-Qaeda branch is stepping up violence against President Bashar Assad's strongholds in the most serious infiltration in years. Sunday's attack appears to have caught the Syrian military off guard. It was a grim reminder that the fighting is far from over. As Syria's fighting is far from over, Belgians are also fighting, but for something else. In the year since suicide bombings ripped through the Brussels airport and subway, those affected have found themselves fighting to be recognized as victims. The attacks killed 32 people and wounded more than 300. A year on, some 900 people now count themselves as victims. Meanwhile, Romania is sending its love and its troops to Poland. Romania's president says the country will send 120 air defense troops to support NATO's presence in Poland. The troops would assist Polish soldiers. The measure is part of the Operation Atlantic Resolve to reassure allies after Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. In the U.S., our own fights are largely over social issues. LGBT advocates right now are questioning the Trump administration's quiet deletion of questions on sexuality from 2 federal surveys. Watchdogs worry they may point to a manipulation of government data collection. Each year, a survey gathers data from those taking part in programs funded by the Older Americans Act. A draft of this year's survey removes a query asking whether a respondent is gay, lesbian, bisexual, or heterosexual. A second survey gathers feedback on services provided to the disabled. At this point, I'd like to take a moment and tell you my thoughts on today's news and what we call Phoenix's philosophy. Please note that all views here are mine and not those of WHAT News or its affiliates. Being LGBT in this country is a constant experience of being not quite sure whether or not you can be openly yourself and still get the services you need. Surveys like this, when they remove questions about whether or not the users of the services that the surveys are asking about, when they remove these questions about whether or not these users are LGBT, they also remove an important piece of demographic information as about how well their services are working for LGBT people and whether or not their employees are biased. Can a lesbian couple walk into a senior center and be treated with the same respect as a heterosexual couple? We may never know because these surveys do not ask the question and therefore are now missing this information. Thank you for listening to my philosophy. If you have one of your own, please share it at WHATnews.com. In Charleston, we are moving forward after a tragedy. The only person with whom Dylann Roof shared his racist plot to massacre worshippers was sentenced Tuesday to 27 months in prison. U.S. District Judge Richard Gergel said he hoped the sentence would serve as a deterrent for anyone in the future who learns of something so serious and fails to come forward to the authorities. In Michigan, we're currently worried about different racial issues. Zahra Balut isn't white, and she certainly isn't some other race. If the government gives her a choice of checking a new Middle East North Africa box on a census form, would she? Yes, she says, despite some reservations after America elected a president who has spoken favorably of registering Muslims in the U.S. Quote, I would feel some wariness, says Balut, who's been in the country for 3 years. We like to talk about sports that are happening right now, but when it comes to planning the Olympics, it's best to look ahead. The Paris bid team is fine with a double vote on Olympic hosts, as long as the French capital is awarded the 2024 Games. IOC President Thomas Bach has raised the prospect of one city getting in 2024 and the other taking 2028. Quote, we can't accept 28, Paris bid co-chairman Tony Esenguet said. Finally, in weather, we keep waiting for spring, and it seems like the April showers may be here, even in March. Rain showers today early and a high near 45. So stay dry, stay safe, and stay watching WHAT News. For the online update, I'm Phoenix Bieneman.